Hey everybody, it's Catherine Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and welcome to today's Wednesday webinar. Isolation is a dream killer, commanding support and encouragement. And today is a little different because, hey Pia, last night on the um, Tuesday night Money Mindset Mastery Wealth Circle, I gave this talk. We did a ton of beautiful commands, and people were just having breakthroughs left and right. It was fantastic. And then, but come to find out that the session, for some reason, did not record. I'm sure it was operator error, but I'm sure, or it could have had nothing to do with me. I don't know, but I just know that for some reason, we did not wind up with a recording of the call last night. We had a ton of great feedback. We did some one-on-one, but I felt like this was so important that I wanted to make sure that this message got out to the community, because I have a big dream for this group. I personally love the work of the One Command for two reasons. One, because it has utterly transformed my life, and two, I have witnessed how it's transformed the lives of people across the globe, and it's been such a privilege to do that. And the way that we grew the One Command was through community. What really laid the groundwork for this, I would have to say, even beyond the One Command circles, it had to even go back to the environment that Asara Lovejoy created in her school back in Seattle back in the 90s. And I just want to say a quick hello right quick. I see Pia, Lucy, True, thank you. Hello, Miss Sue and Sarah. And back in the 90s, Asara had really just this amazing community. And as an adult, it can be tough to make new friends, and then to be in a new city or environment, that adds to it. And then to have a job that takes up a lot of your bandwidth and your time and your energy, that takes up a lot. And then while you're doing that, you got all that going on, then you want to learn something new and make some serious lifestyle changes. If this resonates with anyone on what you're going through right now, I don't know if you've had a big change or whatever, but you're noticing you don't have quite the same personal bandwidth while you're making these changes. So anyone notice this, especially when we get older? So press a thumbs up if this is making sense. We are more isolated. And what Asara was able to create back then was a really close-knit community. And the way she did it was first she set up she had weekly Reiki sessions, because she was a Reiki master and that was part of her training. And she had circles to where people could come and practice, but also receive Reiki. And that was transformative. And then I took her hypnotherapy course, but she had a 4-month hypnotherapy certification that was like a deep dive. We met once a month, and we would get together Thursday night to catch up and reconnect emotionally with each other, and then we'd dive in like at 8 o'clock on Friday morning, and then we really didn't leave until 5 or 6 on Sunday, and they were very long days, like 12, 14-hour days. And so we had these really intense connections with each other. And then she had this ability to create events and communities and invite people, and she shared her connections with other people. And that's a model that got set down kind of deep in my bones, and it really fed me, because there was other people going through what I was going through. There were other people that were a little ahead of me. There were people a little behind me that I could help. And all the while we had this guidance and this process that kind of gave us a framework to talk about it. And that's really my intention with setting up this community. Whatever is happening, that you're going through a change in your life, and no one does it alone. And so we put it online. so that we are not limited by our local neighborhood. So this is the modern age. And what has wound up happening is a lot of people, they join into the group. They love the Tuesday night circles. I get a lot of amazing feedback on the videos and their experience with it. We are starting these Wednesday webinettes so that people who can't be on the Tuesday night can kind of join in and connect into the application of the one command, and to really stay on track with their, transforming their money mindset as they are on the journey to become a conscious wealth creator. And the thing that winds up happening online is something that's, kind of difficult to transfer over from, like, that beautiful, live, living, breathing, someone sitting next to you crying while you hold your hand, or someone holding your hand while you're freaking out, right? And that one who's witnessing that space for you. And we're able to do that to a degree, but really we kind of, and I'm guilty, I'm a member of groups. It's real easy to kind of take and pull from it, and then you go back to your ordinary life, and we don't really ever reach out and let others know what we need and what's stopping us. And we do the one command, we share in the groups, but I'm noticing that within the group, we're not really having that interaction. And I was already thinking about this when I came across a video by Barbara Sher, who is one of my personal heroes. I love her, and I have to credit a Barbara Sher talk on PBS that you can still find on YouTube, SHER, where she talked about her job as a counselor or a coach. It wasn't even called coaching at the time, but she was trained as a therapist. But what her job was to help people figure out their dream. And one of her famous books is Wishcraft, and the other is a book, and I have it listed over here, is a book called I Could Do Anything If I Only Knew What It Was, and how to discover what you really, really want and how to get it. And that's available on Amazon and paperback and Kindle, and I highly recommend it. But when she talked about what she did, that was the first time I went, I do that every day. That's how I am with people. I love helping them figure out that thing that is their spark of joy and what stops them. And I'm just built that way. I was gifted with a Strength Finder assessment by two wonderful people, and as they looked at it, they said, Catherine, you were born to be a coach. And I'm going, I always had that feeling, but it was really great getting that feedback. And the video that I saw was Barbara Sher's TED Talk, and it was how isolation is a dream killer, which is why we have this, and how she created these success teams. And it was really built on a pretty simple premise. People would say, this is what I want, which we ask you in the one command, and then what is the obstacle? And we also ask that, and we call that the gap. The two pieces that we add is the technique to stop your negative, limiting way of thinking, those emotions, those beliefs that are your, what we call the default. It's actually a term. It's called the default mode network in the brain, and you can look up the letter D, M is in morning, N is in Nancy, brain. And there is it'll pull up a Google search. There's a lot of great videos. We're going to be talking about that, about how these little bundles of nerves inside your brain, and they are your default mode. And the one command is a beautiful way of interrupting that pattern, stating it, and then, bringing in new parameters. One of the things that we're going to be talking about in coming weeks or months is how to reconfigure your brain for success intentionally, how to use words, how to set up the right actions and behaviors, how to download directly into you the right habits. And another thing that we are really talking about in a big way is your core identity as a wealth creator. Now, we could call it as a successful person, whatever, someone who is doing what you truly want. But sometimes it's hard to know until you're actually doing it and in the motion. And going back to what Asara set up in her school, was that the moment there was learning, there was application. And in that group, not only were we doing the technique together, we were making friends, and we were having conversations, and people were finding apartments and roommates and getting jobs and getting different, just regular life problems solved. And that has been kind of an undercurrent of my intention for this community, in addition to, hey, we want to be that enthusiastic support for you, to witness your wins, to hold that space for you so that you can fully experience and celebrate the joy of your achievements. And while you're going through a difficult time, or whatever the struggle of letting go and accepting this new way of being, that we're here to hold that space and be the witness of your mastery and your greatness and your ability to make it happen. And I didn't realize until I watched that video with Barbara, and I said, well, I want to do some commands around that, because I kind of operate two ways. I'm great in a group. I'm great, and I know how to work on my own. But that in between of being friends and hanging out, I was never socialized to just hang out with friends, because I grew up in a family-owned business, and it was work or family or church, right? Not ever like, hey, the girls are going shopping, you want to go? No, you've got to work in the store. Today's your afternoon. Hey, you want to come to my house and just watch movies? The first time someone asked me that, I was like, who does that? You would want to just come sit at my house? And I remember the neighbor lady popping by, but usually she'd wind up helping my mom with chores or something. But there was never like, let's just hang out and be together. There was always a purpose, right? So I didn't really get socialized to hang out and do the friendship thing. And as I grew older, I had to actually let people know. It's like, hey, I'm not good at the friendship thing, and I'm learning, and I want to be, and if I mess up, please be sure and let me know, because I tend to isolate naturally, because even though I'm up and I can be out in a group, I have to have a clearly defined role, and I have to actually be in charge of something. I don't care if it's holding the door open. You got to give me a job. Otherwise I just kind of wander around. But then I need to go back and recharge. So as I was thinking about the group, and I started doing commands, like, what is the vision that I have for this group? And I realized that I had a belief that people didn't want to reach out, that they weren't comfortable reaching out, okay? And that they preferred to hide behind a thing, and then they want to dash out. And then all of a sudden, after I was doing commands, I realized, I actually had to have a question. Is this something I'm projecting from my inner state of being? Is this something I'm unconsciously modeling? So I started making commands on, I don't know how, I help create a greater base of support for this community so that they can absolutely know that they are with their tribe of people who get them, who accept them, who want the best for them, and that this is the place that you are 100% safe to tell the truth about what you want, need, and desire. Be actively encouraged in that, and to be lovingly encouraged to face whatever is stopping you. And so but we want to create that safe environment. We want you to feel safe to say, I know I'm supposed to be all positive, and we get this idea a lot from religion. Like if we're raised in a religious environment, it's like, oh, never speak negatively. And a lot of New Age and holistic people kind of fall that way too. Oh, don't speak negatively. Speak only what you want. But you always feel like you're kind of fake, that you don't quite have the space you need to explore and get a little messy, and that it's okay to explore and get a little messy, and there's a place to be vulnerable. That's something I really wanted. So as I started thinking about, hey, is this something I'm projecting into the group, I realized I had never told you that this is what I wanted for the group, that this was a standard. Now, I want to say, forgive me, I have my laptop on my lap. We are under a tornado warning. There may be sirens, and there could be something that happens that suddenly it takes me off air. And if that happens, this broadcast could be lost, and I'm going to come back and I'll do it again. Okay, we're going to do this until we get this done. But as I laugh or whatever, it jiggles the laptop on my lap a little bit. So I apologize for that. So I want to say, hello, Miss Joe. Let's see who all's here. So is this making sense? Right? I mean, it's so easy. We're in the communities and we wonder why, we're not getting everything that we can out of the community. And this is the biggest reason. It is because of the isolation. And what I really want to set for this is more active encouragement. So I see Tracy and Jeannie and Sandra have joined. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and say, too, that last night, and I don't have the link here, but last night someone was talking about some situation, and as I tuned into her, I realized that she had some blocks on one of her chakras. And then to the group, I offered a free link, a link to a program I called that. It's got a bad name. It's 7 Chakra Wealth Coaching, but it's using the one command to address each chakra level and to clear energetically, not only to clear, but to install new beliefs and to enhance your energy system. So the way to get that is after today's live event, go ahead and you'll send me a message and I'll make sure that you get the link to that. Okay, so I want to just ask you, number one, are y'all all in for this? Is this something you would be open to exploring, like to have, I don't know, would this be beneficial to you? And you can type into the chat bar, like, how could having a community where you can really tell the truth about what you want or need and not have it devolve into like, yeah, we're going to support your victimhood, but we want to support your mastery and your ability. How would that be beneficial to you, to have a place that you can tell the truth about where you are, what you want, what you need, and then to maybe you say, yeah, I want to help you. I can help you. I know about this. Here's something I can share. Is that something that would be useful to you? And if so, why would that be beneficial? So type into the chat bar now here over on the side, and I'll wait just a second. So I would love to get your feedback because, guys, we're co-creating this group together. So how would that be beneficial as you think about that? Okay, so I'm going to give you a space and think about it, and then even after this, you can come back and you can type into here, okay? So I wanted to be sure and mention that every Tuesday night we have the Wealth Circle. It's weekly now. It's at 7 p.m. and you can catch the video replays over in the left-hand side of the page, and it says videos, and that's where you can always find the replays, okay? All right, so I want to just kind of tune in here because, you heard me say, hey, I had this intention and I was wondering why it wasn't happening. And then I realized, oh, maybe I'm projecting this onto you, which is what we always do. And what you have probably heard me say or written, seen me write someplace, that our perception creates reality. And right now, we're operating in a default mode, even when we are making changes. The real change starts with your thoughts, but then it is our actions that really drive in that habit and really get it set down. And then you start getting feedback, and then you adjust your behavior. You start getting results and you adjust your behavior, and then it becomes your identity. Okay? But what stops us in the meantime is right now in our regular, ordinary thinking, we're always doing one of three things. And it has to do with the fact that there's only so much that at each level of consciousness that we can process so much information at a level that we can be aware of, right? That's what consciousness is. What are we awake to? Okay? And so in our ordinary beta thinking, we can only track 4 to 7 things at any given moment. Excuse me. And of all the billions of bits of information that we are receiving, how do we determine which 4 to 7 things to pay attention to at any given time? And then we're receiving it through our filters of reality, and all the time we are either deleting information. Okay, so you know what that is. You've walked into a room and you immediately see something in the room, and then you mention it to someone else and said, I didn't see that. I said, are you kidding? You didn't see that? Of course, it was right there. Everybody could see it, right? Of course you could see it. The other way that it's deleted, if you've ever been on a car trip with someone, I was on a car trip with someone one time, and they were the driver, and we were going through a mountain pass, and every time, every few minutes, she's going, oh my gosh, did you see that? That car nearly hit that car. Oh my God, there was a deer over there. I thought the deer was going to dash out. Oh my gosh. Oh, that car stopped really short. And they were just watching all the danger. And I'm in the other side of the car, and I'm just like, this is the most beautiful, gorgeous day. Look at this mountain range. Look at the river. Look at the trees. Oh my God, was that a blue jay I saw up there? Oh, look, oh, hi kids, waving at the kids. You know, I'm just having the best time. I'm seeing all the beauty and she's seeing all the danger, and we are in the same experience. And it was based on our filters at the time. She started deleting the beauty and paying attention to all the warning, but also because of her stress and her cares, and you know, the stress of driving a big giant truck down a curvy mountain road, she was on, you know, like really heightened in that. So what that took her to the next thing, which is distortion, where suddenly there wasn't, hey, we're going to pay attention, but we're going to pay attention to what matters. We're going to let our brain guide our thoughts, right? There's a part of us that knows exactly how to take care of us, and we can trust ourselves to pay attention to the right thing at the right time, okay? But the distortion was dangers everywhere. Oh no, this is, you know, and the smallest things got blown up, okay? And then for me, danger got minimized. I distorted it to minimize danger, and I increased my perception and my awareness of the beauty, okay? And we were in our both in our own distortion, okay? The next is generalization, and I have it here on the page. This isn't my writing. This actually came from an NLP manual that I have from years ago. And but the generalization occurs when we, you know, base a global conclusion. And what that means is when we use like words like every time, all the time, or it seems like every time I start, you know, I get a little closer to success. And to borrow from someone earlier today, it just feels like the rugs, you know, the rug always gets pulled out from under me. And it doesn't take long usually to bust that. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, which every single person, everybody you meet, right? My niece one time had an argument with my daughter, and she goes, the whole family thinks I'm this way. And I said, well, I don't think that that's true. Who thinks that way? about you? Who thinks that you're crazy? I said, does your mom think that? No, my mom's great. She's supportive. Your dad? No. Okay, your Mima? Your Papa John? Your cousins? Who in your family has told you you're crazy? And she got to thinking, and she realized no one's ever told her she's crazy. They've told her that she's not doing what's right for her, and she's not listening to her own inner guidance. But she's never been told that she was crazy or stupid, ever. But what did she generalize? That her whole entire family believed this one thing that she actually believed about herself. And that we can generalize positively. Like, hey, I'm a lucky person. Like I generalized, even though I'm doing it wrong, I'm doing it right. Okay, even though I'm doing it wrong, I'm doing it right. Because what I've noticed in my life is even when I'm doing something and it feels like it's wrong or I think I've made a mistake, it always turns around. I would say 9 times out of 10, which are pretty good odds, but even if it were 6 times out of 10, even if it were 4 times out of 10, wouldn't it make sense that I would feel more confident in my choices if I just had that generalized, hey, even though I'm doing it wrong, I'm doing it right? That's what I'm paying attention to. And there's been times that I did it wrong, and I was wrong, and I was wrong. My reasons were wrong, the actions were wrong, my attitude was wrong. Just all around, just some bad behavior and decision matrixing right there. Asar and I, one time we were talking about, there was something she wanted to do and I didn't do it. And there was something I wanted her to do and she didn't do it. And we were just kind of like, both got a little cranky with each other. And I said, Asar, I don't know. I guess apparently we're just going to take turns doing it right and doing it wrong until we get this thing figured out. And she laughed. She said, I don't think you could have said anything more perfect, that it's just a process that we're going through. So I think that that's a healthy thing, that sometimes you're going to do it right, sometimes you're going to do it wrong. Your partners, your friends, they're going to do it right, they're going to do it wrong. We're just all trying to figure this thing out together, right? And eventually we'll get it figured out, okay? Eventually it will come around. And I think that for me, that has turned out to be a really great attitude. Okay, I see Lisa. Oh, Lisa, hello, from down under. And so if this is making sense, let me know. And there we go. Good, I have no judgment. Okay, I'm just tuning in here. So today I want to do some commands, and I'm going to try to walk through very quickly how we might create this enthusiastic support and encouragement, how we could actually receive that, because sometimes we know how to be encouraging, and what's interesting is a lot of people I know in this group particularly are healers or practitioners, coaches, they're in a service type of business, and they really are amazing at giving and holding space in such a loving, non-judgmental way. What they are not so good at is actively receiving that love and that support without judgment. They don't know how to hold that space within themselves. And just sharing personally, when I started going through a hard time a few years ago, I got my natural default, DMN, my natural default is to isolate, go into that wounded wolf thing and go into my cave. But I really didn't know who I could be vulnerable with, who I could tell the truth about what I was going through with, because I had this idea that I'm supposed to know the answer because I've been a teacher, right? My ego, played a game with me, and it was actually my illness that was playing that game. It was releasing those chemicals that would trigger those thoughts that, it was just this vicious cycle. And I just grew more and more isolated. And that because I wasn't doing the work, I got more and more depressed. And it wasn't until I started reaching out to some really good friends, and it almost felt like I was coming out when I told them what I was going through. And I didn't realize until they started loving me how hard I had been judging myself. And then it was, I didn't really have that belief about being worthy or deserving our help or support. And I didn't know how to ask what I wanted. So I realized I didn't have the neural receptors to take in that support, literally at a deep neurological cellular level. You may be missing a chip, right, on how to actually receive that. And the danger is sometimes we, in our giving and our loving nature, we wind up setting up unintentionally codependent relationships, because that's a default in our relationships. And so we don't know really how to give in integrity and how to hold the space and to be in our own authority and to be able to just hold that space so that the people can rise up. And if they need a little help, then you can reach out your hand. So it goes back and forth. The other thing that I've noticed, it's a little hard sometimes for people to, I'm trying to look for the right word, but I'm a member of a few threads, and hey, I'm all for Zen bitching, right? As long as you know that, hey, I'm going to take a moment here and I'm just going to bitch and I'm going to blow this out, that's not real. What I need from you is, this is what I need. This is what I'm actually asking for, right? We've got to discharge a little of that energy. So the challenge is to not support the victim, but to encourage the master. And we don't really have a language on how to hold that space of each other's mastery. And, we've talked about that in some of the past trainings and some of the past circles, but this is something that can only be learned through relationships and talking with each other. So the best way to do this is to say, hey, I don't know how to actually be the appropriate support. One, I don't know how to receive support. If you're feeling you're unsupported or people don't believe you or you can't get, there's something you need and you can't quite get to it and you don't know why, we call that the gap. So there's something in you that doesn't know, but there's this other part of you that goes, it's possible. If anybody else has gotten it, you can get it. You can achieve it. If someone has that mindset, someone has that energy, someone has that experience in their learning, it's in the field of consciousness, and you can pull that down. And the way I think about it is there's something we call the Akashic Records. That's supposed to be the recording of all of our lives and our soul contracts. But it's also the recording of the human history. And we have the ability to tap in to any level of learning that we need at any given moment. We can command for it. If we just set that intention, that immediately opens the space. Okay, so we can literally download from source the configuration, with the systems, the habits, the beliefs that we need to activate it. Sometimes we don't know what the right question is. Sometimes we don't know how to shift our thinking so that we can start getting those. Sometimes we don't know what we need to give up in order to get what we truly want. Okay? Sometimes we don't exactly know, hey, I know I've got this going on, but I don't know. And someone listening goes, hey, I know what that is. Try this, right? So we don't know how to receive and we don't know how to give. We can download directly from source. So there is a little framework that I put together on the list here. I wanted to try to make it simple, but it actually, you can be as simple or as light as you want. But we have, basically, our starting point is, what is it that you want? Okay? Think about what you want. Now, if you want to be able to be at peace or more play and have a more joyful, ecstatic experience as you're walking through life, the best way to make that happen is to, one, you've noticed that it's not happening, and maybe you are not catching yourselves doing it. You have to be able to create it, right? You have to be able to see yourself, my future self, as a person who's able to be happy. Okay? Right now, your self identity, if we're going with that, is someone who's not happy. And we have to figure out what stops you from being that happy person. It could be that internal state of being. I had to learn how to be happy and have fun again. I was telling someone today, it's like I had to learn, I had to start saying, okay, I am done with work. Now it's family time. Because my family was starting to say, hey, Nana, you're only talking about work all the time. It's kind of boring. Could you talk to us about something else? Okay. And I go, okay, I'm sorry. I'll try to do better. And then, dang it, my work was always on my mind. So I had to like close the door and turn off my computer completely and throw I had a beautiful silk scarf I threw over my computer so I can see it, but that little action was work is done. Okay, and if there was anything else that was still on my mind, I wrote it down. That was a strategy. Then if I was with my family, I'd have to say, okay, for the next 15 minutes I'm going to just be present and listen to everyone and not talk about work. I believe me, sometimes it was like, I had to bite my tongue and catch myself and just say, I'm not going to do it today. So many times I'd want to share something about work, and I realized I'm going to be here and I'm just going to listen and talk about something else. So I had to learn to do that, and then sometimes I had to motor drive it, and sometimes it was really hard, like a hard crank, to really go, I'm just going to have fun. Okay, can't do anything else for the rest of the day. I'm just going to go ahead and be with my family, or I'm going to clean house, or let's go to the park. Let's go do something fun. And I had to force myself out of that because I'm a worker bee. Okay, so the obstacle could be, hey, you forgot how to have fun. You don't know what it is. So you could actually do a command for wherever it is that you get stuck. Okay, so what we do is, when we notice where we are, what we want. Okay, think about something you want, like, hey, I want a speaking career. I want to write a book. I want 5 more clients. I want to help people. And we have a lot of coaches, and not everybody's a mindset coach or a prosperity coach. I'm still trying to figure out the name of the kind of coach I am that comes under Big Vision. But really, the truth is, what I'm able to do is like, hey, what is that dream inside of you? Very much like what Barbara does. And let's get it pulled out, and let's see how we can make that happen. What do you need to create that so that you are living and working and having the relationship that you want on your own terms in a way that feels true and authentic for you? And I know how to pull that out, and I know how to draw the map that is already for that success, that's encoded in your brain. And I help deal with whatever energetic, emotional, or mental constructs that are stopping you from implementing your new plan. Okay, that's what I do. And it doesn't matter if it's for business or your health or for your relationships, or just you want to just be happy. That's the thing I know how to do. Whatever this desire in you, I know how to map it and help you move forward and take those actions. Okay, get an actionable plan. So what is your wish? And it would help me for the commands that we're going to do, because we're going to do some commands after this. What is it that you want? Let's play along, okay? So what do you want to have, be, or do? Okay, and type it into the chat bar. Oh, I lost the screen. Got so excited about talking to you. There we go. What do you want to have, be, or do? And even if you are watching this after the live, go ahead and put it in. Then I'm going to loop you in to the call. Okay? All right. So whatever it is that you want to have, be, or do, what do you want? It may be something small. There's nothing too small, and there's nothing too big. and there's nothing silly about what you want. I'll definitely encourage you to watch the TED Talk video, and she's got some really great stories about how this happens. All right, so what do you want? And I have some questions here to kind of help prompt your thinking. So what do you want to have, be, or do? And then to think about why do you want that? Why does that matter? Because we've got to learn to align to our purpose. But these are just ways to help how you're thinking about where you are right now. And what have you done so far to make it happen? And you might go, nothing, or I don't know, I kind of do research and I dink around, or I'll get about halfway started on something, or, you know, you haven't even gotten to the point that you're actually clear on what that would look like. But what have you done? And when you think about your situation, this thing that you want to create, what thoughts or feelings come up? Okay. Are you thinking, oh, that's stupid, or I'll never get it, or I'm too old, or what held me up for a long time was my idea about my weight or my size. Well, there's no reason in the world I can't have, be, or do what I want. I watched this guy is like 350, 400 pounds, and he's the most amazing dancer I have ever seen in my life. And he was so graceful and beautiful, and he teaches workshops, and he just built his whole life around putting himself out there and sharing his love of dance. And so if he can do that, we can do anything. Okay, people have gone up Mount Everest in a wheelchair, so there's really no limit. If you've got that desire, you can make it happen. Okay, but then why do you think you can't have it? Do you think you don't have enough money? There's not enough time? Your family won't understand? You don't know how to do something? You've never done it before, which slows up so many people. Like they'll go, well, I want to be able to speak. Okay, well, what would you talk about? Well, I've never done it before. Well, why don't you, the best way to figure it out is, if you had, what do you want to talk about? Well, I want to talk about this. Well, okay, well, there are a lot of people that have groups. Why don't you call them about arranging to give a 15-minute talk someplace? Oh, I've never done that before. I don't think I could. Well, how are you going to do it if you've never done it before? And you see how they get looping? That's what happens. But we have this idea, right, about why we can't. So what I have here, again, is what's stopping you from acting on your desire. And then what do you need? Well, I need training. I need somebody who knows somebody. I need a ticket. I need, they can't even, they don't know, because the obstacle seems so insurmountable. They've just given up before they even thought about it. But really think about what it is that you need, okay? And don't worry about what the cost is. Money is actually the least of your concerns at this point. And then the magic step is to move into your future self. And then you go, if I was somebody who had or was doing what I wanted, if I was already that person. And so the best way to go project yourself into the future was like, if I were that person, I wonder what kind of things I would feel. I mean, how would I feel when I woke up in the morning and I looked forward to my day, right? What kind of thoughts would I have? Well, would I be thinking, oh, this is a great day? Like when you have an obstacle, would you be thinking, oh, well, even though I'm doing it wrong, I'm doing it right, or I can do this, or I'm going to be around people, I'm so lucky to be in a supportive community. What kind of thoughts would be your normal way of thinking, instead of like worrying and criticizing yourself because you haven't succeeded yet, or maybe you succeeded once and you haven't succeeded again at whatever level, right? Whatever we are thinking that makes us wrong, right? So what would your thoughts be instead? And then this is where you start tapping into that vision. What would it look like? And then how do you think others would see you or know you? Now, what's going to happen right now in your ordinary thinking is you're not going to know. And what usually happens is people start defaulting to a story rather than coming to, going, I actually have no clue. That's the real answer. What do they do? Because they loop back to their past, and they loop back into that default mode in the brain. Okay? They loop back to that. They are not able to see. They are deleting, distorting, or generalizing their experience from the past into that future. And if they feel kind of blank, go, I don't know, I can't even get an image, that's actually a good sign. And any time you run up against a blank, or you don't know, or you notice you're looping, and right now in this ordinary reality, it's impossible to know. Okay, it is impossible to know. That's why it has to be an active creation. This is what we're talking about when we say meet yourself in the moment. So the moment you're meeting yourself in is like, I don't have a clue how to have fun. Like, I had to meet that. I had to go, I'd rather work and isolate and just, I was running this belief you're not allowed to go play till all your work's done. Well, when you're in business for yourself, your work is never done, is it? But you have to create stopping points. So what we do is, this is where the command comes in, okay? So there are different points that you would be commanding as you go along, even at this starting place, what your wish. Okay, so you would say, well, I don't know how I have it, but it's actually more powerful if you wait until the end on your future self. And then the commands are, I don't know how, I am the kind of person who, or I don't know how I came to be someone who has fun. I don't know how I'm free to have fun. I don't know how I'm free to have the support I need. I don't know how I wake up and look forward to my day with excitement. Whatever these positive attributes in your future self, those are your commands. Then whatever your obstacle is, then you meet it and you command it. So, well, I don't have the money to get the training that I feel like I need. Even though, unless it's something like being a doctor or a CPA, there is some degree of training that you can get for free. Online certifications, there's something that you start where you are that can put you on that path, that will eventually lead to that what you want. At whatever level you're at, right? So if you want to become a CPA, but you aren't even doing for anyone, you haven't even, taken advantage of going to H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt tax school for free and working a couple of seasons doing tax returns, right? And then using that money and taking that, watching YouTube and Udemy videos, and then saying, okay, I'm just going to take as much as I can for free, apply it, earn money as I go. Then maybe I can test out if I need a college certification or something. But there is a way to do it, okay? But if you're just hung up on, I don't have the money, well, then just go ahead and say, well, I don't know how I have the result. I don't know how I have the training that I need. And rather than, I don't know how I have the $10,000 to get the training, focus on, I don't know how I have the training. I don't know how I have the friendships. I don't know how I have the support. I don't know how I have the car or the house. I don't know how I have what I need. Okay? Oh, we had somebody put a little sad face. Oh, what was that? Oh, no. Okay, so I see we got Vicki here. Thank you so much. And I'm going to check in on the comments right quick. Is this making sense? Are you guys with me so far? And let me tune in here. I see Roseanne and Annette. Hi, Annette. Judy LaCroix. Mystic Energy. Hey, I made it. Hey, Judy. Woohoo! So you stay with this until this feels clear. And what you're going to do is, once you get that those commands in, okay, the what is your wish? We think about the obstacle, the ideal future, the commands. So we work through that, and then we work back up. So what that means is we first have gone through. Did that get printed right? Okay. So first we're going to start with what it is you want. What is the obstacle? Then the command. Then from that, you imagine that you're pulling in, and the way we into your present now. Okay. Like, yeah, now, today, I am that person. And the way we do that with the one command is, it would be, hey, I don't know how. Like, let's say you want, nobody in this group does, but if you did, hey, I don't know how I'm a successful CPA. I don't know how I have a thriving CPA practice, because that's the ultimate goal. So I don't know how I have a successful healing practice. I don't know how I have a successful coaching practice. I don't know how I'm easily generating $100,000 a month through my coaching practice. I only know I am the kind of person who does that. I am a successful coach. I am someone who easily and naturally goes from success to success to success. And there is not a hard, recipe that I can write out for you, because this is so personal, but you've got to think of it more of like a mind map. And did you hear how I did that command? That's called a stacking command, right? So then once we've made that command, we're up there and we're theta, and I'm going to take you through this. Then we make the command, then we witness, so we kind of move over in this space where we're still in expand, and we start witnessing the download that we need. Now there's other processes. There's one that I love to do that's uncovering your wealth identity, but right now we're just going to talk about this one, and you are witnessing that energy coming down like a direct download. And then in this space, what you'll notice will start happening is that ideas, we could call them considerations, or it could be, hey, we want to clarify this command a little bit more. Okay, so that's how we do it. And you keep making commands until you feel peaceful. It feels like, yeah, I'm done. Then as you come down, here's the statement, and you have probably heard me say this. You come down in the inner position. You come down as the one who is already a success. Just, did you feel that energy moving, our energy sensitive people? And one of the things I like to do is I like to work with my chakras, and I'll go, wow, I don't know how. I'll massage my third eye. Wow, I don't know how. I have a new vision of what it looks like and feels like to live my life as that kind of person. And my throat chakra, I don't know how, I'm having a new conversation with myself about my potential. I only know I'm having a new internal conversation with myself and the world now, and I am fulfilled. Ooh, isn't that beautiful? And that starts interrupting a lot of your self-talk. And then you just feel it coming in, and you're coming in actively receiving, creating this field of gratitude and appreciation. And you're just with it, and then that energy will unwind and rewind, and then the real work of integrating kicks in. The change is instant, but the integration takes a little bit of time. And the other thing is that your unconscious mind needs what I call vignettes. I don't have them here, but it's really important. I have on here, it's like, what would it look like? What would it look like? What would your life look like if you were the person you wanted to become? The person you must become in order to be a success. I think it's actually a book by Glenn Dietzel is his name, The Person You Must Become. And so if you were that person, what would it look like? So what would it look like if you, and I call them vignettes, little mini scenes, when you wake up in the morning and you think about your day. how would the start of your day, as you met obstacles, what would that look like? How would you deal with your challenges? How would it look to you to have a success? And they are all as unique as your thumbprint, okay? And we want to do that because we want to give our beautiful reticular activating system the clues on what we want to look at. And we want to also give the rest of our brain, hey, these are the behaviors and the results that I want to create. And it starts shifting your energy field, and you start naturally acting this way. Okay, now, just very briefly, I had somebody that back when I was in apartments came to me, and he was looking for apartments, and these were all high-rise buildings that I manage. And he was looking for something because he saw that we had a level that you could walk in at ground level. And he figured, oh, I'm not going to have to deal with elevators or being above the second floor, which freaked him out. And said, unfortunately, the level from the parking lot puts you right out at the third floor. And when we walked into the apartment, he just pressed his back against the wall in the apartment when he could look through the double glass windows, and he could see the mountains, and it was just a gorgeous view. And there's the little fisherman's terminal and everything. It was just amazing view, and one anybody would have loved to have. But he was like, can we please close the blinds, because he was so freaked out. And I was like, this is your lucky day. I'm actually trained as a hypnotherapist, and I specialize in clearing phobias. And and I just said, well, let's test it. And I did my little phobia talk, and then I got him to the door, and I was like, oh yeah, you're always going to take care of yourself. You're not going to do the crazy stuff your friends do, because he always had these stories of people who would tease him about his phobia. And I said, but you know what I want for you is to be able to feel so comfortable and relaxed that you could just walk out to the edge of the, put your hand on the banner and lean over and look out. And I did that. And he was like, oh my gosh, could you please get back in? Come here. You're freaking me out. And I've dealt with vertigo. I know exactly what he was going through. So I took him through the phobia cure process, and he's like, well, I feel better. Thank you. At least now I can drive. And he came back about 4 hours later. He said, you know, I want to see an apartment. It's really pretty here. I like the floor plan, but could you take me to a higher one? I said, yeah, let's go, because we were up on the side of a hill. And so I took him up to the 5th floor of the apartment, and he walked in, and he was like, this is really nice. I couldn't really think about what the apartment looked like before, but this is beautiful. And he was like, well, let's see the view out here. And he walked on, and just without even thinking, he opened up the door, and he put his hand on his rail, and he looked down, and he said, how high are we? And then he went, oh my gosh, what did I just do? What did I do? And he got so excited, he started calling all of his friends right there. Right? And as big a deal as that was for him, the biggest gift for me was I wasn't sure if being a hypnotherapist and working with people one-on-one was the right thing to do for me. I really didn't know if I could trust myself to do a good job and really get a result. So I think he was my healing angel. We both took away something really precious that we needed that day. And that's why we create the vignettes, so that we know. And this is also coming back to why we want to be in community and hold that space, so that we can model that success, so we can encourage each other, because you deserve it. Your dream, your hope, your wish, your desire is a gift from Source, planted in your heart when you were born. You were born to fulfill that. And it would be anyone's honor and privilege to help you with that. You ready to do some commands? Let's get them done so that we can let you go, okay? All right. Man, I'm loving you so much right now. Okay, so right now, let's just align heart to heart. And the Master in me greets the Master in you, and let there only be love between us. Just allow that love to become illuminated, and every person who's watching this now and what may be watching in the future, Just allow the love in your heart to connect to theirs so that we are creating a circle of love and support. And right now, behind us, there is invisible support. Maybe it's people that you know that didn't know, that you didn't know could actually help you now, or it could be angels or guides, or it could be someone you're going to meet in the future. But they're here right now in this space holding your good. Take a deep breath, roll your eyes up, and just picture, visualize, or imagine that you're in a beautiful white light place. And I'm going to do commands. I don't know how. I have the courage to state honestly what it is I truly want, need, or desire. And to be vulnerable, to tell the truth about what my obstacle is. I only know I have the courage to state my truth now, and the confidence that I will be heard and appropriately responded to now, and I am fulfilled. Just let that go, keep your eyes up, and I don't know how. I know myself right now as one who has that which I desire. I don't know how to see myself. I don't know how I have the thoughts and the feelings and the actions and the inner resources of that person. I only know I am, and state whatever it is that you want to, who you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to have right now, and I am fulfilled. And just let that idea go, let that expand out to an idea even greater that serves more good in its fulfillment. And now just feel yourself witnessing this energy downloading into you. Of all the thoughts, the habits, the systems, the protocols, all the positive intentions, all the modeling you need, all the encouragement, all the celebration, everyone who helps you and everyone you get to help on the way. Just witness the downloading and those thoughts and those images, those ideas. And also witness this field of gratitude and appreciation being created around you. And now feel yourself coming down in the position of the one who already has, who already is, who's already doing that which you have desired. And we're just going to unwind any resistance, any fear, any habit of thought, any family patterns that may be hindering you. And we're just going to unwind. And then we're going to rewind. New energy patterns, thought patterns, feelings, emotions, new systems and strategies. And just come into this space, bring your attention back to your heart, say yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Oh, hi. So I would love to get your feedback on this, what you're noticing now when you think about what it is that you want, what's stopping you. And even after this call, you're going to be able to, this recording, you'll be able to access this in the videos. And I would love to get your feedback on this. And hey, I'm also open to any suggestions that you have that could make this community more valuable for you, so that it will help you achieve your hopes, wishes, and desires in a powerful and empowering way. If you feel like you need some help or support with that, there is a link here in the chat and here in the handout at the bottom where you can click on there and you can book a free call with me. And we could talk about what your situation is, and if there's something I can help you with, and if so, what that would look like. But people often report that they just feel better after having a conversation, and they can have someone help them name it, like name what they want, or name what the hindrance is, or what is really blocking them at some level. Okay? And of course, please be sure and join us on the Tuesday night circles. And we do these webinets every Wednesday, 2 o'clock Pacific or Central Time, and I hope you'll tune into these too. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go now. And until next time, this is Catherine Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and I witness your mastery. Thanks for taking time today, guys. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.